Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Valagar Aloevain. Alright, so for this video here, we are back out in the harbor in the Wayward Lobster Tavern. Now inside the tavern, straight ahead at the bar, we have Inquisitive Ingram. Now we can talk to him here, and he will put us onto the quest for hiding in plain sight. So we do just gotta then talk to Beaudry, which if you remember from way back when, he also has his own little quest chain there. Now, if you're looking at the map, it does tell us to head into the tavern. That is because originally Beaudry himself was in the tavern, but they have since moved him a couple of times now. Now, when we talk to him at this point, it gives us two options. So the man named Beaudry Cardamon, that is for the first chain that he gives him at level 2. Then we have the Twilight Forge, which is the one we're wanting. So we just go through his dialogue, and he officially bestows the quest. So we can hop into our quest on Reaper 1 and get it started. So I'm just gonna get our hireling out. Alright, so the first thing in... Alright, so the first thing once you get in here, we have a whole lot of breakables that we can go ahead and break. I definitely recommend doing it because, I mean, they're right here. There's no reason you can't get them. Also, you'll notice in that back corner where they were talking about, you'll notice two NPCs there. As we approach, one of them is going to head down the door. The other one is actually going to become aggressive and want to fight us. So go ahead and kill him there. Now, heading down the turn, you do need to be careful as there are two traps here. So the first one here actually has a trap underneath it. So this trap box here goes towards the jets. So if you carefully walk up to the side, you will be able to disable that and then head through safely. And then right at the very end, you have a second control box which controls these ones here. So from here, just continue heading deeper in. We'll see our same guy who runs ahead and pulls a lever. Basically, he's alerting everybody that, hey, we've got intruders. So once our initial welcoming party is dispatched, we can actually head a little bit deeper in. Now, as we get to this point, you'll notice we are getting experience for breaking the, or not experience, but we have an optional for breaking the breakables. You need to break a total of 75 for that optional. Alright. So this place here itself is fairly maze-like. There's a lot of different directions that you can go, and I have noticed some people can get lost. So the path that you want to take is, once you first get down to the bottom here, you actually want to make a right. Now be careful at this turn here, as sometimes there are traps, and of course sometimes there are not. So that time we were able to get away without having traps. The next part we want to do is actually, this is up to you. If you continue heading east, that will lead you deeper into the quest. However, if we make a quick turn going north, we will get a an extra area which does have additional kills, additional breakables, and even a secret door. Hopefully. Ouch. Alright, so the secret door is just right here. Now if we do head left, again there can be sometimes traps here as well, but it is a dead end. So let's poke our head in this room. So in here, just a few guys, as well as a whole bunch of breakables. They also have a chest in there as well. So there is a little bit of loot if you decide to chance off fighting all these additional enemies. You know, something for your time anyway. Alright, so the chest itself is just right here behind the boxes. Nothing special out of it, just some random loot. Alright, and from this point we're just going to head back to that main shaft now. Alright. So now we're going to again continue on. As you see, we can run into some of these dart traps. The traps in this one are fairly random. So you just got to be careful. Alright, so this one here, we didn't actually see it go off. But there it is there. Giant blades. So standing on the one bit of dry land there is definitely dangerous. I recommend just jumping straight across, because if the trap is up, it is right there. Then of course we can disable the trap and head deeper in. Now again, it has, oh no, not yet. So here we're gonna actually run into another trap. And we actually just want to run in and jump off to our left. If we head right, we just have the valve in that little hollow. But this hollow here will have the trap box. Now this trap is one of the traps that are always up. So just be careful there. Essentially be careful going around dark corners. Alright, so if some of you are noticing by now, we're actually in the harbor sewers, and if you know the quest information is key back from level 2, you will notice this section. Now this is an optional section here as well, but you can head east for some additional again, kills, some additional like possible traps, as well as another piece to one of the optionals there as well.
These sewers run underneath Osgood's home in the harbor.
Alright, and just like the one there from before, we gotta, like the other quest there, you head up, you got the levers on the side, which you gotta pull.
You hear the grind and clatter of machinery from below
And
and to the
that'll
west.
open up the
Sounds
side
like
path
something
here.
heavy is being
Now you
ratcheted
can pull
into
them
place.
both. The one to your left, the one we pulled there, is the one that you need to get the valve. The other one, when you pull it,
You
it
hear the
just opens up
rasp of
this
stone
side,
against
which
stone
will allow
from
you to get the
somewhere
rubble
above,
there.
as if a massive barrier is moving aside.
And then you just want to head up the ladder. Now again, this whole section here is an optional. If you don't want to do the optional, rather than make that turn at the shrines, you would just continue on north. But we're going to get back to that section, of course, in just a moment. So this here is where information is key would end. Which, again, I like that we're kind of back in the same sewers, because, I mean, we're in the harbor sewers. It's gonna be the same sewers. Another thing to point out, we do have a lever here which will control the door. You will also sometimes find a note, which we did not get. Alright. So we're gonna hop on down. Now you can head up that way, but as you can see, gate right there. Nothing real special. And that is this path here. Now from here, let's just head back to that shrine, and then we'll turn and head north. Yeah. Alright, so here's the shrines. In order to head north, we just gotta pull our lever here and head on in. Do be careful, there can be some traps activated in the middle of these vents, or the grates. As well, we also have enemies that can pop out.
You hear the sounds of battle from up ahead.
Alright. So again, it branches off in two directions. The path that we actually need to take is off to our east here, but if we make a left heading west, we can get some more breakables. As well, for that quest, their information is key. This would actually be heading towards the beginning of that quest. So that would just be up here, which we can go.
The torrent of water from above makes the ladder slippery and difficult to climb.
Difficult, but not impossible. and we actually want to continue going all the way to the beginning, as it can also have,
Agents of the
there we
Orm
go,
are overseeing Azadon's crew.
one of the Orem officials.
You see a tattered sheaf of documents.
Here they are.
These documents are
So it's
torn
a
and
free bit of
dirty,
experience,
but
plus it is
salvageable.
one of the 3 Orem officials. The Orem officials can kind of move. I've noticed they can spawn in a couple of rooms. Same with these documents. That's why if you are going to go for that optional, it is best to just go through it all. Alright, so if you do decide to head this direction west, it does lead to a dead end. However, there are just a few more breakables around the corner, and a collectible as well. Once you've done all that, there's only one thing left to do, which is to head back to our main path and continue on with our quest. Okay. We got some mushrooms. Alright, so this one here, instead of continuing heading the direction, which you can do, it does just lead to a dead end. You normally just want to go up to the end, immediately turn around. Now, this section here, we do need to head through the obvious secret door there. In order to do that, there is a valve. I do want to make point, there's usually a couple of traps here. So we only got the one. Definitely make sure you disable them before pulling the valve. Otherwise, you're just going to have to deal with the trap as well. Another thing to point, right as you get through this door, there can also sometimes be traps. So just watch yourself there and essentially be safe. So from this point, there are a couple directions it's showing. Unfortunately, we can only go one of the directions. So there's dead end, it's dead end. All that we can go is off this direction here.
Cobwebs in the hallway beyond, this gate was closed.
Now, as you can imagine, cobwebs are spiders. Now, there are a lot here. Typically, what I'll do is I'll pull a group of them, and then I'll just, you know, set up like a kill box kind of thing with my turret. But essentially just go at whatever speed that you can handle. So I'm just gonna kind of go group by group here. Especially this one, we got a couple of champions.
Sounds of scurrying rats are gone.
So typically speaking, it's right here where I set that up. So I'm just gonna hurry a little bit closer. Just get some aggro. And on both sides, so north and south, we do have to pull a lever there. And those levers will open up this path here. The rest, oh, they're all kind of stuck. And it's kind of, you know, grab the group that you feel comfortable. Some people just rush in, get to where the lever is, which is in one of these hollows here. Here it is. And they'll just fight them over here rather than dragging them back and forth, which does admittedly take a little less time. But on Reaper, I don't feel comfortable enough with my healing, which is very minuscule at this point, to be able to handle that there. Alright, so heading deeper in, you do gotta watch as there are some spike traps that can pop up in here, which we did not get.
The cold water
Alright,
below looks uninviting, but
so
it's
the next
the
bit,
only
we
way
want to
through.
pull our valve and actually head down here. Now, this is where things can get a little bit dicey.
Debris litters the water.
There are,
Remnants of trash
literally
float down
dicey,
into
there
the
are a
sea.
bunch of spinning blade traps. Now, only one person actually has to go through them, as once you get to the very end, they have a valve that you can pull to turn them all off. Ultimately, they are fairly easy to get and go through. Just kind of time it, watch where it's spinning. Once it stops, swim through, go to the next one. Obviously, if you have a high enough evasion, go ahead and just, you know, keep swimming. I tend not to risk it. This one's getting hit by. And there we go. So the blade, the trap that you need actually isn't down there at all. It is just this valve right here. That will turn them all off. The only ones it doesn't is these big ones here. Now I want to point out, if you can see when I use my Q and E, right there I'm targeting an oil of serious repair. This quest can actually drop bottles of air, which are an underwater action item with no minimum level. And they would be just down there at the bottom. I'll swim around through that pipe there, if you can see it. You just got to be careful because these blades do not stop, as you can see. So you got to kind of swim through them and not get hit, which I'd rather not risk. But you can swim through there and see if you can get that bottle of air. Of course, you can use Q and E to see if it's even there before you take that swim.
Water drips from your body as you
From here, you want to
climb
head
out
on
from the
up
water.
the tunnel and around the corner. Now, those little gargoyle heads at the very end are actually dart traps, which will shoot towards you. Now, this side is relatively clear, as one of the arrow traps hits the, or supposed to hit this. As you can see, the arrow itself hits the thing and stops. You can see the arrows there. However, for whatever reason, you still get hit past it. So the animation is stopping, but it is still going through. Now the trap box itself is in that back corner. As well, right as soon as you get around the corner, we have some enemies. What I personally like to do, as they are dart traps, they have fairly... I'll stand in the middle kind of here, which allows me to go back and forth without getting hit, and they can possibly get hit by the trap. Unless, of course, I stop to stand in it. There we go. But yeah, so it's... If you walk in the center of these, they're pretty safe there. Alright. So now that that's done, we got one more big door to go through, which is right here. Now this door can have... It has a valve there, as you can see. Also a couple of traps. So again, you definitely want to make sure you grab these control boxes before pulling the valve, otherwise you might not have such a nice day. As well, again, you can have the spike traps right here as well.
This must be how Hazardil moves his cargo, right under the nose of Harbor Master Zinn.
And right in here is essentially going to be like your end fight room. It's a fairly larger room. And it has a large amount of enemies, especially right at the beginning. There we go. Alright, so once we get rid of them, now the end fight itself is right up there. You can see Hazardel and a couple other guys up there. But they do have 3 other little rooms here that we can go to first. So this first one has a whole lot of explosive barrels, which again count towards your breakable.
This room is filled with stones.
And I mean, it's just fun to blow up the exploding barrels. And again, nice easy way, as there are a lot in here. Well more than you need. We've actually almost gone up, what, 75 here in this one room. So that is a good chunk. Like, as you can see, 75 of 250, just under 250, is a very good chunk of that amount. Alright, now heading off to the eastern side, we have another one of our Orem officials. Leaving only one left. Now we can head up the ramp, or if we just run a little bit past it, we have one more room here to check, which can have additional, can be where the documents are placed, as well as can have a different one, as I do believe. On top of that, you know, additional enemies to kill for that full conquest bonus. Alright, so no documents, nothing like that, but we do have a locked chest for a little bit of loot. And now, finally, we can head on up. Now, I typically use the boxes to head up rather than the ladder, as I feel it gives me a little bit more time to prepare. So as you can see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 enemies in here. It's just kind of right up top, real close quarters. Typically, I wait for everybody to get ready, kind of go 1, 2, 3, and just take them out. Now, don't worry about killing Hazadel and then having the quest end. The quest itself does not end until you loot the one specific item. So, just, there we go. And that'll be the source of his wealth there. So on the table, we got his book of charts. Picking that up will complete the quest. 16,000. Now this quest here is actually a prerequisite for the Restless Isles chain. So if you're looking to do those, obviously you definitely need to do this one. I'll pick up those in the next videos, show you how to get there, and so on. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a good one. Have a good one all.